Well, hello. It was 2023. I felt sorry for myself. I thought this was the answer to my question. This school was going to make me perfect, which after falling out, I realized and I recognized the Lord showed me you did not need that school. You did not need that school. I could have done in you what you wanted to be done. Hi guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Chanel and I'm so excited to get into this video today. Thank you, Lord. I pray the spirit of this video and I pray the video goes well. May the spirit be with me. Today, I'm going to be talking about how I fell out of spiritual leadership school and what spiritual leadership school was like for me. Let me paint a picture for you. So, I think that it was a good thing. I believe it was a good thing that I ended up not doing 2 years like how I was supposed to. I think that it was a huge blessing in disguise because there was a lot of things that God recognized and saw that was happening to me that was not good for my own personal growth. And God, being God and knowing what's best, allowed me to fall out. Okay, so let me paint a picture. Let's go back to 2023. Okay, in 2023, I remember I was new to Mercy Culture still. I was only going to Mercy Culture Church for like a few months and I was broken. I was humiliated, I was embarrassed of my mistakes and my life choices at that point, and I just wanted anything. I felt like I needed to be fixed, and I thought when I heard of SLS Spiritual Leadership School, I thought this was it. This is what's going to fix me. I have a lot of problems, and this is what's going to fix me and set me straight. This is what's going to make me more like Christ. But it was it was an unhealthy view of the school that I had, in where I thought the school was going to make me perfect. Like I was going to come out of this school looking perfect, being put together, like nobody is going to look at me the same. I'm not going to be the same old girl that made all the mistakes that I made. So I jumped at this opportunity. I prayed about it. I felt like the Lord said yes. I applied. When I applied to the school, uh, I f- thought I thought there would be financial assistance because when you apply, it has something there that says there would be financial assistance, and there is something that you could click that says th- basically apply for financial assistance to or something. So I remember feeling a little bit eased because I was like, okay, because I'll be an independent student, I'll be working the whole time. The problem with going to this school was also the fact that it was a full time school, and like, I'm on my own. Nobody's paying for my groceries, nobody's paying for my rent, nobody's paying for my car payment, car stuff. Like, I'm covering all my payments. So it's really hard to be there full time and also be able to work unless you work overnight or something. And even that's hard because you work overnight, go to school in the morning. Also hard because it's 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. So it's really a challenge, and you really have to pray about it to see if something that the Lord wants you to do. I felt like the Lord told me yes. Also, at the time, I really was not thinking about everything clearly. I was like, I'm just gonna pray about it. If the Lord says yes, then I'll go. I wasn't worried about the finances at all, which I probably should have thought more about that, but I didn't. I didn't. Anyways, it was 2023. I felt sorry for myself. I thought this was the answer to my question. This school was gonna make me perfect, which after falling out, I realized and I recognized the Lord showed me you did not need that school. You did not need that school. I could have done in you what you wanted to be done, basically. Like, I could have healed you. I could have taken all the messes that you had and turned you into, the beautiful woman that you are. You did not need that school to be fixed, you know. Lord was just speaking into me and saying you are not something to be fixed. Like, you didn't need the school the way that you thought you needed it. Anyways, so I prayed about it. I got into the school. They said yes. They are also very spirit led in how they do everything. So for enrollments, they always pray about it and make sure that the Lord is saying yes to an applicant, so they don't just accept people. They pray about it. I prayed about it. They prayed about it. They felt like it was yes from the Lord. So here I am. I started going to SLS Spiritual School. I was super excited. I was one of the youngest. I was the youngest, not one of the youngest. I was the youngest, and it was a handful of people. It was a total of like 13. It's very new. I feel like they were figuring out how to do everything with us. I mean, they were improving from their previous year, but like it was new. So there was only like 13 students, uh, roughly thereabout, and I was the youngest of the students. I Being the youngest, it was very, very, very challenging. I right off the bat when I started going, um, my problem that I had was I was trying to please everyone. I was still just doing so much people pleasing, caring so much about people's opinion of me, trying to please everybody, trying to be liked by everyone. I wanted people's approval, and now me saying this, looking back, I'm like, oh yuck, yuck, yuck. I can never imagine being in a place like that ever again. But that's where I was back then. I needed to grow, I needed to mature, I needed a lot of growth in a lot of areas. And that was one of my greatest downfalls that led to me not having such a great experience with school was I cared too much about what they thought about me. Also, right off the bat, what I would what I was sensing in the room collectively was everyone looking down on me. And it's the things that people do. You can feel when people don't value your opinion and what you have to say about something because of how they look at you, how they treat you, and how they see you. And it's like when you open your mouth to start talking, it's the expression that they have on their face. It's how all of a sudden they have somewhere to be. It's like they don't really want to hear you, and what you have to say doesn't really hold as much value. And you can tell when you're being treated different than, how people treat other people, around. And so, right off the bat, something that I didn't like was how I was treated and how I felt just around the room. Everyone just did not value my opinion and clearly not hold me in a high standing as they held everyone else. They just didn't value me. And they didn't know me yet. They just knew my age. That's all they knew about me. Like we were new. All they knew about me was my age. And that was it. That was it. They had decided that I had nothing to say only because of my age. And that was harsh, especially when I cared so much about, their approval of me and wanting to be liked and people pleasing. As the year kept going, as the year went on, and everyone was spiritually growing because the whole reason why we're in spiritual leadership school was for us to grow, for me to mature, for me to learn to let go off of people's opinion of me. Like these are the classes, like it's a lot of classes. They teach you a lot about um it's theology, it's growing in your relationship with the Lord, it's healing from traumas, abuse, and all these. It's like a really well-rounded class. It's also financial teachings and how to be financially free and make good financial choices and be a good steward of your health, your mental health, your spiritual health, and your finances. So it's a well-rounded school. I would definitely still recommend a school, for sure. It was a great school, even though my experience wasn't the greatest. I think there was a wonderful times and great highlights that I have of the school still. Anyway, as the school goes on, um, people start to grow. I start to grow. People start to grow. People start to apologize to me for how they treated me and how they were wrong for that. And something that happened though later on was me being verbally attacked by someone, literally because I was trying to give them advice as we're supposed to do. We're in a school where we are told and we are encouraged to give each other advice. We're supposed to hold each other accountable. So if you see your sister falling, doing something, whatever, you give them advice. Now, I was verbally attacked for giving someone that was older than me advice that was actually great advice, but because I was younger, they literally like dragged my, I don't want to say they dragged my name, but like I don't want to say they dragged my name, but in a group setting where we were all there, they literally went on to be so mean and say so much nasty things pretty much about me. Um and how they were unwilling to listen to me simply because I was young and they did not think I had anything to say. And now look now I could see that that was more than just what was happening in the room in the present. It was a spiritual attack. Now I can see that it was a spiritual attack. It was the enemy because collectively I had felt this as a group, and then here was one person I feel like at the time that the enemy could use to actually come after me harder and to like silence me. I had fought really long. Like I have a history of like abuse and being in a home that's really abusive and feeling like I was silenced for years. And now being in a group where it just felt like nobody valued what I had to say. It was like the enemy continuing, like continuation of like an abuse basically. And yeah, so that happened and it was handled, like it was brought to higher ups and it was handled. But what happened to me at that time was it set off, like it really caused my walls to go up because I started to withdraw from everyone. I started to withdraw from everyone. That was the beginning of me withdrawing from everyone, like putting up my walls. Because at this point, I was like, I don't know why everyone feels like they could just walk over me. I was also really soft spoken, and people just did not seem to want to value what I had to say or care so much about what I had to say. And the treatment was just not the best. Even though some people were apologizing, it was still like, it was still there. It was still lingering in the atmosphere. So they were also learning, they were also growing. Okay. I give them grace for that, you know? But what started to happen was I started to build my walls up, especially after that happened. I started to think, listen, these people are going to try to walk over me. If I don't put up some boundaries, if I don't, at the time, I think I really negatively was like, oh, believing the negative fact that I needed to change. I needed to be somebody else because if I was who I was, nobody's going to listen to me. Everybody's going to, oh, she's soft spoken. Let's not listen to her. If I didn't become somebody else, if I didn't become stronger, if I didn't become somebody else that like garnered people's attention and respect, then people are just going to keep walking over me. So I feel like I really picked up that core belief and I started to embody that, in that I started to change myself. The school progressed later on, and as me we getting to know people, I was very just like, I was very joyful, I was very almost kind of bubbly. I liked talking to everyone, and as I was talking to everyone, I think it was seen, like I feel like people could see that I was different in some ways. Like um I kind of stood out. I will take I will take responsibility for the fact that I did need to grow in maturity in some ways, and I did need to grow in maturity. I did. Um but I don't think that it gives, like I don't think it justifies how I was treated later on at all. Um Especially with my background coming from somewhere that was abusive, and finally being in a space where at the time I felt like I was free. I felt like, oh my gosh, I'm in a group of people. At the time, I thought they were safe. I was like, these are safe groups of people. I've never been free before, like I've never been okay to just be me. I've never been in an environment before where I didn't feel like I needed to hide. I needed to build up great walls to protect myself. I needed to, where I felt like I needed to constantly like defend myself. Um Even though I still had trouble like recognizing at the time good feedback from bad feedback, because I was in an environment where I was constantly having someone come after my character for no reason other than they just wanted to tear me down, and I was their beating bag. And so when I was in school, when I started feeling safe and I started to be myself, I was really happy. I was really joyous. And the Lord was really encouraging me to be myself and to be joyous. And so I would just be happy. Like I would come to school and it was just such a great day. Like the sun is shining. Like it's such a great day. Just being so happy and like high sprung. People were taken aback by that because I don't know, they were just honestly, I felt like a lot of people just had like a stick up their butt, especially the first year, which was really hard for me after leaving school, like the year after, seeing the same people who literally criticized me for the level of joy that I walked in being joyous all of a sudden. I was like, I'm sorry. Like, I guess it was good that they changed, okay? Yes, it's good that they changed and they didn't feel like, they needed to walk around and be all serious and grudgy all the time. But like it really hurt me because when I was happy, when I was, a little bit more free-spirited and just joyful, they literally criticized me for having joy. They literally criticized me for having joy and ostracized me for the level of joy that I walked in. Like, I was over here, like, vibing, like, in the classroom, dancing, just gleeful, just happy. Because what a day to be alive and not be under the roof of, my narcissistic, abusive parents anymore. So I'm over here free, having, just happy that I'm free. And I felt like at the time I finally have an environment where I can be safe. And I wasn't like obnoxious or anything. I was just dancing. I was vibing. I was in my zone. And then there was people over here literally criticizing me and saying stuff like, "Oh, she just wants her attention. She's just doing things for attention. Oh, she just wants to be seen. Oh, look at her. She wants to be seen." And I'm like, that is not okay. That is not okay. And those words literally cemented in my brain. Cemented in my brain. And now, not only did I feel like I was not valued, and now I felt like I couldn't be myself. Now I felt like I couldn't be happy and I couldn't be free. Another thing about me, too, is I'm Jamaican. Like, my whole family is Jamaican. My whole family's from Jamaica. And so I would say things sometimes that didn't make sense to them, and so they also thought that I was talking funny and I would say things funny. Another thing about me too is I was extremely sheltered, but a lot of things with modern society is they're very like it's there's so much perversion around. And I would like say something not thinking the perverse meaning of the thing, just the pure original meaning of the word. But I didn't know that in modern society that word has been changed and is now demonized and is now sexualized or something. And I would just say it, not my brain isn't even over here on the unclean side, but theirs are, because obviously we all need to grow and heal. Reason why we're at this school, but their brain is, and they're all laughing. And for a second, I'm literally like sitting here like, what is so funny? And then I think about it, and I'm like, oh, I wasn't even thinking about that. And that happened a few times, and it started to annoy me to a point because I'm like, why is everybody's mind so dirty? Why? And so all of that together, it literally I felt so just like I didn't feel safe. I didn't feel like I could be myself anymore. I felt like I was misunderstood continuously. Um or just times where I felt like I was misunderstood. I didn't feel like there's people who were treating me with respect or like treating me like, hey, I have something of value to say. Oh, Chanel, she can lead. Everyone is saying, we're all supposed to be leaders, but when it comes to me, it's like sometimes there were people that like were not giving me the room to grow, to be the leader that, I could be. And so over time I withdrew from everyone. I built up my walls. I pulled back, and I slipped back into my little shell that I was supposed to be coming out of. And then fast forward the end of the first year. It wasn't the best um time for me because at the end of the first year, I had some really like bad news, which they prayed about it and they felt like I was supposed to do year 1 again, and that broke my heart and my soul because I was like, I literally left that school with over 95, I think 95%. So like I did all the work. I worked hard, and it was like, "Oh, you're supposed to redo it again." Like that broke my soul, that broke my spirit, that broke like everything in me. Like I really worked hard. Like I was one of those people, like when I was in high school, like I was one of those kids that AP honors classes did everything. Like, not that I was into school for that reason, but like my work ethics. Like, I made sure all my assignments were done. I sat down with the Lord every night. Like, I was very, very, very adamant on doing my work. And I always did my work. Like, I have a great work ethic. But they felt like I was supposed to redo the year again, which broke my soul, broke my spirit. That year was already hard. Like, I ended up being depressed for most of 2024, which 2024 is when year one ended in, I think May was when, or yeah, in May of 2024, the year ended, and I was already depressed. And hearing that news, it literally like it was pushing me over the edge. And so I was seeking like guidance, and they were trying to comfort me throughout that whole process. Um, Come back again. I re-sign up for year one again because I was told to, and I prayed about it. Didn't feel like the Lord was telling me that I shouldn't do it, so I did it out of obedience. So I signed up again to redo year one. Here I was having a terrible time, having a terrible, 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 terrible time. Um, like I, I just I just didn't understand why I was supposed to redo this whole year again after putting in that level of work. And like I had to work through the year like a job, and I worked really hard. Finances were tight, like it was really stressful. School was really stressful, and all that I was describing was going on. Like all that was going on in school with my classmates and everything was just the tip of the iceberg. Like I struggled financially the whole year. I worked, and with school being full time and me having to find outside time outside of that to actually work and pay for all of my expenses in life was hard. So I'm like, okay, well, here we go again. They told me I didn't have to worry about paying the fee again. So, it was whatever I had left over that I didn't finish paying off in year one that I had again. Like, there was no additional fees. So that was good, but it still just broke my soul. Like, why am I redoing this whole year of school again? And so yeah, class, it was hard for me to be in class again, starting over again from spot one. And there were people, what also broke me was the people who weren't the nicest to me are in year two. They get to progress in life, but here I am sitting here right back where I started. And even something too that was on my mind, which I know it doesn't matter because we all have our different roads and stuff, but I was thinking about how there are literally people who were on the verge of failing. They get to pass over to year two, and here I am. I had the highest grade at the time, which it I know it shouldn't matter. It shouldn't matter. It really shouldn't matter because that's not what we're there for. It's not about the grades. It's about our heart and our way to, serve the Lord. But at the time, these are the things that was going through my mind. Like I had the highest grade at one point out of like the entire like SLS program, like including other campuses. Like I had the highest grade at one point, and throughout the year, like my grade was really high. I ended with a high grade. So it had nothing to do with my grade ethic. So that was good. So I was asking my ethic. That was good. So I was asking the Lord, like, okay, like, why am I redoing the year again? Was it because I needed to heal? Was it because I don't know? Um, but anyways, here I was redoing the year again. And at the time, I just felt like the Lord wasn't saying anything. I just didn't understand. Why was I here again? And it was really hard for me to be in class and sit through everything all over again, doing this all over again. Um, it just, I wasn't okay mentally. What ended up happening at the beginning of the year was I actually was being really good steward of my finances. I set aside money. I was slowly paying off my payment. And so when my first SLS payment came up, I was ready. I was like, I would have been able to pay it all fully off. But then all of a sudden, out of the blue, what happened was my car got towed, even though I went into my apartment office and I was there. I asked them what I needed to do. I signed the things, I thought I signed everything that I needed to sign. But then my car got towed and I went in the office and I was like, what happened? You guys gave me a sticker, said that I was good to go. Like, I thought I did everything I needed to do. I made sure to come in the office because I didn't want to do it by myself on my phone and miss a step. The whole reason why I came into the office to do it with somebody, right? But then they were like, oh, apparently you didn't do this one step. So they towed your car. And I was like, oh, great. Great. And there was apparently nothing I could do about it. So the money that I had for rent ended up literally getting my car back because it was a lot of money to get my car back. A lot of money. I get my car back. Now I don't have rent money. And that literally set off like also at that time because I was in school, which at the time I was in school in person again, which is huge, 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 like affects my work schedule hugely because it's full time school. So I, over the summer, sat down, did my finances, did my budgeting, and was like, I can't go in person. I'm going to go online. About like a week before SLS started up again, um I felt like I was supposed to be in person. I felt in my spirit that I was supposed to be in person. I felt the switch from the Holy Spirit, you're supposed to be in person. So I went in person. I switched everything. In order to be in person, I needed to be flexible. Like my work hours needed to be super flexible. So I changed departments. I was told by the person that helped me switch my department that I was going to get a lot of hours in this department because they need people. When I switched departments, they literally didn't give me any hour. I had to fight tooth and nail for hours. And top of that, my car had just gotten towed. So it was like with my me not making enough now, all of a sudden I was scrambling. I started door dashing literally overnight. I was door dashing from like 10 p.m. to like 7 a.m. in the morning. Literally. I was door dashing. I was picking up shifts wherever I could get shifts. Like I was doing everything in my power to make enough money. On top of that, I was still going to school in person, and I was still just having such a hard time being there because I'm redoing the whole year again, and that just hurt. That just hurt. But hey, at least I could say I was obedient to what I felt the Lord was leading me to do, which was I was obedient. Okay, I did what the Lord had said. Um, as it turned, when it came up time for me to now pay my SLS fee, I wasn't able to. I wasn't able to. Everything in my life was falling apart all of a sudden. Like it literally unforeseen. Like I literally was stored in everything, every penny I was making. I was like, okay, I'm gonna pay this, I'm gonna pay that. My car gets towed, and I'm like, oh my gosh, no, I don't have rent money. Now when I get paid again, it's gonna go towards rent when it was supposed to be going towards my car payment. And then what I was supposed to use for my insurance payment is now going towards my car payment because I took my car payment money to pay my rent money, and now I don't have money to pay my school fees. So here I was sitting in front of the person that was like the lead for our school, for our campus. And usually this is a friendly person. Usually they're super friendly, super nice. Like I see them outside of school. Like we all go to the same church, like it's the same church. We all serve together, like family kind of almost, but like talking to this person was like a brick wall. And instead of them like listening to what I was saying, I felt like it was like they were interrogating me. I'm sorry, I don't have money to pay my school fees. I literally don't even have money to complete paying my rent. I don't even have money to pay off this fee. I don't even have money to pay off that. Everything is literally being shaken up under my feet. I literally don't even have money. And even if I did have money, it wouldn't be going towards my school payment because I'd rather pay my rent. Um and so like it literally it literally just felt like a whole interrogation process of them like criticizing like choices that I'd made, well, like finance wise, but none of the choices they were criticizing were actually like responsible for what I was going through. And there were choices that were literally accounted for, and like I was able to afford that, yes. It wasn't like expenses like I just blurt like I'm not someone to spend money, okay? It was the fact that I'd gotten a car in the summer, but like the car payment it was affordable, okay? It was affordable before I switched departments to be in school, and this department isn't giving me any money. Like it's not giving me hours. So here I'm scrambling. I'm trying to switch back to a different department now because this department isn't working out for me. Like it just literally everything was just going downhill, okay? And and what ended up happening was I ended up switching to online school instead because here I am like, okay, I don't have the option to be in person anymore. I need to be able to work full time. So I switched to online school. I start door dashing every day. I don't have any shift from work. I start door dashing. I switch my departments. I get a second job because I literally ended up taking out a loan, a payday loan to pay my rent, car payment, insurance, other expenses. Like I literally take out a whole loan payment for all of that. But not for my school fees because pay it's the school fee doesn't grow in interest or nothing. Like it stays as it is. But if I took a payday loan to pay that off, then like I would be in great doo doos. That would be that would be a terrible idea. So I only took out the loan enough to pay off my rent, car payment, and those fees. Okay, now I had to pay my rent. I have to pay all my normal expense of living, my rent, car payment, car insurance, all of that, and pay off back the loan. So I had two jobs. I was working two full time jobs, and I ended up being on academic probation because I couldn't keep up with all the work working two full time jobs. I was exhausted every time. Like, I couldn't find time to do my schoolwork. And then I also ended up on financial probation and academic probation. And so somebody called me from the school higher up to see if I wanted to take a step back, like if I wanted to let go and leave school. And I was like, thought about it, we prayed, and I was like, yes, I feel peace in that decision. I don't even see a light at the end of this tunnel. I don't know how I can literally, I won't be able to keep up with the schoolwork. So I left school. All whilst I left school, I was feeling really interesting. I was like, oh, everybody's gonna think that I just left. Everybody's gonna look down on me even more now. They're gonna be like, oh, she was the one that didn't stay. Which, but like, people's opinion should never mold me, okay? But, anyways, what ended up happening is I ended up leaving. I have an encounter with the Lord. The Lord is speaking to me, and he's just speaking to me and just showing me like you did not need to go to that school to grow into the woman that you are. You didn't need to go to that school to be changed or transformed, because at the beginning of the video I was telling you I thought that this school would make me perfect. It would fix all my issues. Like it's going to change me to a completely different person because I'm not going to be the person that makes all these mistakes anymore. I'm going to be a new Chanel. But the Lord was like, you didn't have to go there. Okay? You didn't have to go to the school to be made new. I could heal you. I could do the work that needed to get done in you. And so basically it was revealing to me that I idolized the school. Afterwards, the Lord was just showing me a bunch of stuff that I hadn't healed from that happened with like my classmates and how they treated me and the things that went on that just like left me feeling like I needed to be somebody else. I needed to change who I was, made me feel like I wasn't safe. It literally being in that school that 1 year literally changed me from being the soft spoken, amazing woman that I was then. That yes, I needed to mature and grow and all these things, but it literally changed me from the things about me that were just so beautiful and unique. And it made me this cutthroat person that has no time for nobody. Like, listen, nobody's gonna walk over me, nobody's gonna step on me. Like, just like my heart was hardened, and I was just different. I wasn't as joyful, I wasn't as happy, I wasn't myself anymore. Like now I was a whole new person, right? And the Lord was just showing me, I feel like I wasn't able to be there anymore. Like me falling through the cracks was like a really good thing to happen for me, because it literally, the Lord was saying, I didn't bring you here so you could forget all that I was doing in you. I didn't bring you here so you could forget who you were and who the person that He loves is, which the Lord loves me for me. He loves who I am. He loves my beautiful, energetic part of my personality. He loves the joy that I walk in. He loves who I was before I changed myself to be somebody completely different. He loved me before my heart was, I mean, he still loved me then too, but he loved when my heart wasn't hardened. He loved me as I was. Even though they were criticizing who I was and making me feel like I couldn't be me. The Lord was like, I loved you being you. You were perfect. You didn't need a change at all. You were perfect from the beginning and from the start. You were perfect. You shouldn't have let the voices of others cause you to alter your life, to alter who you were, alter your personality. You shouldn't have let it harm you in such a way that all you could hear was their voice and the things that they were saying about you. So much so you changed who you were. So that's what happened. That's how I fell through the that's how I fell through the cracks, and that was my experience with SLS Leadership School. The school in and of itself, like, the beautiful thing too is the school is like, it's spirit run, like the Holy Spirit is in it and is in the mix. And like, you can always give feedback. You could give feedback to the higher ups, you could give feedback to people. They're always asking for feedback. So that is always, that's wonderful. um what's wonderful that I see now is in my life the same people that at the beginning were really, I felt like, really critical, um and like harming me at first. It's amazing how the Lord has redeemed that storyline, because some of those people now are a mere like friends and we are good. Like I was able to heal and forgive them and forgive what they had done. And likewise, if there was anything that I did too towards them, like they were able to heal and forgive, you know, from anything that I may have done. Because we're like friends now. And it was really hard at first to go back into serving and being in the community, seeing the same faces and the people. It was really kind of hard at first and challenging, but leaning into the Holy Spirit, I was able to move on and move forward and recognize and realize that things that happened like uh, that weren't according to God's will was like people needing to grow. And something that we say in our community all the time is extending grace to people, because people are people and people will hurt you and people will harm you. And it's important to extend the grace to them, because even I sometimes make mistakes and hurt and harm people and things I say that I didn't mean. I didn't mean it that way, you know? And we were all in the program to grow anyway. Like it was the whole point of the program is for us to spiritually grow. Okay. And what's amazing and awesome is how a lot of those people have apologized and have literally been like, "Hey, you're a beautiful young woman and I'm so sorry for the things that I've said to you." Um and that's been really nice and growing. That's what happens when the Lord is at the midst of everything. Like the Lord speaks to everyone. Lord convicts people and say, "Hey, you said something to so and so the other day and that wasn't cool." And then that person will go back and say, "Hey, I said something to you and that wasn't cool." So that's always amazing. That's wonderful. And so that's my story at Spiritual Leadership School, and how I fell out. It was also a test. Like, it was also a test, 100%. My trials and my tribulations. Number one, he was testing me to see if I was going to redo the year, even though I didn't understand why I was being told to redo the year. And I did it. Yay for me. Number two, I remember someone coming to me and giving me a word and saying, "You're going to go through the wilderness." Okay? Months before everything started crumbling under my feet. Like someone told me, "You're going to go through the wilderness." And there I was, Everything was falling all over my place, and I don't think I did really well. Okay, I didn't do well in that test because everything drove me crazy. Like the whole time I was like, I don't know what I'm gonna do. Like I gotta work, 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 work. All I could do is work. I'm gonna just work. And like I was scared. I was not leaning on the strength of God. And literally, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm like doing far better than I ever did before because um in this time around where I felt like I went through another trying time where everything just didn't look like I was gonna make it out. But this time I leaned on God completely, compared to that season of my life where couldn't pay this, couldn't pay that, felt like I was gonna lose my apartment, my car, my this, my that, and I was just tired. I was working two full-time jobs, and I just I was not trusting in God. I was not leaning on God. Those are the two main tests that the Lord was putting me through. Obedience and trust in him when everything literally is going down the hole. And I didn't do so well at that test. But yeah, that was my experience with spiritual leadership school. Those are the things that I learned when all else fails and when it seems like everything is going under. It's a time to lean into the Lord and trust the Lord because it's so easy. It is literally so easy when you trust the Lord. It's so easy. It is so incredible easy. And He literally will provide way for you out of the wilderness. He will provide a way for you out of the storm. But when it is going down and you feel like Hail Mary, like you just gotta grab onto something and grab onto a scripture and hold on to it because like the Lord is gonna be with you and it's gonna be so easy in His presence. Like if you don't allow what's going on, the storm around you, to take your attention off God, like, hallelujah. Like, it's not going to be so scary because you're going to know where your strength and your hope is found. It's in God, and God is unwavering. So, why is your faith wavering? God is going to help you. It doesn't matter how this situation, like, how it plays out. God is going to be at the end of the road. God is going to be there with you throughout the whole thing. Just lean on Him. And it's so easy when your eyes stay fixed on God, and He will literally provide for you. Like, I wish that I leaned on God during that season and that time. Like, He was really testing me. That's why everything seemed like it was set up against me. It really wasn't. It was a test to see if I was going to lean on God when all else just was not going my way. But that was my experience and how I grew from that. I didn't end up doing year two or going back at all, but literally, like, so much growth has happened. So much growth has happened in my life playing out the way that it did. Like I've grown, I've learned, and the Lord has restored me because I feel like if I kept going to school and I did year 2, like if I redid year 1 all the way and stayed all the way through and redid year 2, I feel like I would have just lost me because I had already lost me following these people and allowing their opinions of me, play a role in my life. Like I think it was really good that I ended up falling through the cracks because it allowed me to stand on my own 2 feet and be my own person. It allowed me to fall out of that circle of people and being an individual that God called me to be. Like, God was like, I did not call you here so you could forget what I was doing in you, so you could forget who you are, so you could forget the woman that I called you to be. I'm sorry. Nuh-uh. Nuh-uh. I want you to be you. I want you to be you. And stop letting people tell you to be somebody else. And so it was good in hindsight that I fell through the cracks. Bye. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.